gang. We're super early or late for our early show. Anyway, hey, it's Andy, Cocktail Hour. With me is...
I'm Rev. Hello. Hello.
Yay. And our author guest is...
Fletcher DeLancey. Hello.
See, the gang's all here, man. This is episode 120. Welcome. We had to start a little early this time because, you know, Fletcher's not on the USA time schedule. She's in parts far, far away. I don't know where you're at, Fletcher. So, yeah, I'm looking like a doofus.
I'm in Greenwich Mean Time.
There you go. Okay, see. And she's still
really easy.
She's like in the bat cave. She's not giving it away. I love that. Holy crap. Okay, so we asked Fletcher to come on to talk about her latest book, and if you guys haven't gotten it yet, you know you need to go out and get yourself a damn copy. Uh-oh, we lose Sherry? Oh, there she is. Oh, there you go. She's got a copy of it. She's holding up. It's Catalyst. That's the newest book. So welcome, Fletcher. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yay. Okay, so do we have any cocktail hour business? No?
Well, we can tell folks what we're going to be doing next month and get it out of the way. Or we can do that later.
We can do that later. Let's do that later. Let's focus on Fletcher right now.
All right. But before we get started, we already do have a handful of viewers. So hello to everybody who's hanging out. And if you would like to post a question for Fletcher, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can just type it in to the chat area there, and I'll try to keep track of what's happening. Okay. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, so should we just dive right in, talk about Catalyst? I mean, let's, how about how it interrelates to the other books and a summary? What do you think?
Don't we always just dive right in?
Usually, yeah.
Well, that's my diving in part. That's it, right?
Oh, sorry.
That's the warning. We're going to dive in now. Everybody hold on.
Okay, so...
you want to do the intro? Oh, never mind. I'll just shut up. You go.
No, no, you go. I want to hear how you describe it. Besides, you have the book in your hand and I don't.
I was just going to read it off the back. I didn't reread this, so...
read it off the back.
All right, hold on. Oh, now I got to take my glasses off. All right. After disobeying orders and saving the planet of Alsea, but it's okay.
No.
I know, it's fine. So saving the planet of Alsea from invasion, Captain Ekatia Serrato returns home a hero and renegade alongside Dr. Lynn Rivers, now the foremost authority on a culture that fascinates and terrifies. They share a secret. They are Tyrees, linked by an Alsean, is that right? Alsean empathic bond that should be biologically impossible for two Gaians. The secret could cost Ekatia her career, but when both women are drawn into a deadly political game, their Tyree bond may be all that stands between them and the dangerous enemies they have made. In Catalyst, the fourth book of the Chronicles of Alsea, the bonds of love, friendship, and family are redefined. The intersection of Alsean, and Gaian cultures has profoundly changed both and become a catalyst for miracles.
Wow, that was dramatic. I'm very impressed. And it's Alsean.
Okay.
Alsean. You can say you can say Alsea if you want to, but either way, it's still the accent is on the first syllable.
All right then. I did it two different ways, so I think I got it right on the second one.
You covered all the bases, all possible bases.
I try to make everybody happy.
It's those damn non-English names, I tell you.
I know it. So now this is when Velmar came out, there was some complaining that I saw because book 5 came out before book 4, but it really doesn't matter all that much because, I mean, there was a bunch of stuff that was given away in Velmar, but more big picture type stuff. Did we have you on to talk about Velmar?
You did not.
No.
We missed that one. No,
Damn it.
I know. I think the only thing that was given away really in Velmar is a relationship, which begins in Catalyst.
No, I think there was more than just that. I think
Oh.
there's like Velmar's
Future.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
exactly.
yeah, that's like distant giveaway.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, I was like, oh yay, but damn.
But there's almost nothing in Velmar that would spoil Catalyst except for that one relationship giveaway. But yeah.
And that was actually kind of cool because you knew that it was coming if you read Velmar, and you could kind of see the beginning of that.
I think it was cool for some. Other folks were a little disappointed. They're like, hey, I wanted to not know. But if I hadn't put out Velmar when I did, then there would have been an entire year between books coming out. And Velmar seemed like a nice way to get something out there for people who are saying, when is the next one coming out? I can't stand it any longer.
I hate those people.
We have rabid fans. Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but I thought about it and thought, well, I could either make them wait a year and then put 2 books out, bam, bam, or I could put this one out now and piss some people off, make other people very happy, and hope it works out in between. And I think it worked out in between, pretty much.
Have you gotten a lot of negative reaction? I only saw like some, not really upset, but folks saying, well, I'm gonna wait, but I don't want to read them out of order or something like that.
A few folks waited. I did get a few reviews saying, hey, this spoiled the relationship, but it doesn't really, because it just tells you that it existed at one point in time, so you don't actually miss what happened. That happens in Catalyst. So I hope that when people read Catalyst, the ones who were disappointed by having a potential spoiler said to themselves, oh, well, in that case, okay, I'm all right now.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen those reviews, so I don't know.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. Well, so on to the Catalyst. Oh, go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry.
I haven't read it yet.
What?
Which one?
Velmar. Which one? I read the one for the show.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not right.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, I haven't read Velmar yet.
Well, you should. You would really like
that. That was part of the problem.
You didn't know it was out?
I forgot that it was out. So what I would be reading tonight.
It's short. It's it's really short, and it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, especially Andy. If you just read Catalyst, Velmar will be like this is a sweet little bedtime tale after
a little summer breeze.
Yes, exactly. After the heaviness of Catalyst, and that was one thing I loved about Velmar, about writing it, was that it was like being in the sandbox was playing for me. It was getting away from the really heavy arcs and the really in-depth storytelling and just telling a tale, literally a bedtime story.
Nice.
That's right. It is literally a bedtime story.
It is.
I forgot about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there sex in that?
Yeah, there's I still haven't read that the short story at the end.
Oh yeah.
I still haven't read that.
It won't take long, believe me. It's 2,000 words.
Oh yeah,
It'll be
okay.
like, boop.
I think there was that. I don't think there's graphic sex in it. Is there? I mean, not
possibly.
I don't remember.
Okay. Let me tell you a story. All right. So, okay, the Projection is the name of the short story that's in the back of Velmar, and you can also get it for free off of the ILVA website. And I wrote it just as part of a challenge, and it is explicit, but it's also very short. So there's not much time to get really into things. But I forgot that it was at the end of Velmar, and I sent Velmar to my mom because she has so she has the full collection of all my books, right? So mom finishes Velmar, and she emails me and she says, I really enjoyed this. I think that it would be a really good book for elementary school libraries, except for that bit at the end. and because I had forgotten that there was an erotic short story at the end, I'm thinking about the end of Velmar the Blade, which ends with a kiss. And I'm like, what? Mom, seriously, you're objecting to a kiss? What the hell? I thought I trained you better than that. And then it was like 24 hours later, I realized, oh shit, my mom read that.
That's awesome.
So in other words, it depends on where that kiss is. I'm just That's pretty awesome. Oh my God.
Yeah, I sent a rather embarrassed email to Mom after that, and she said, well, I pretty much just sort of skimmed it. I'm like, Mom, it's 2,000 words. You skimmed 2,000 words.
That's awesome.
So Catalyst. Let's talk about Catalyst, because for me, Catalyst was much more reminiscent of the first book. It was much more action and intrigue than it was the romance aspects. And I really like that, especially after two back-to-back that were heavy on the romance. Mm-hmm. So that was really good. The other thing for me that some people already know, that was an ongoing thing for me and Fletcher when I was working on it, is I don't really like Akatia very well, and, and Fletcher just kept telling me, just hold on. You're gonna like her more when you're done with this book. And I'm like, I don't know, I still don't like her very much, but grudgingly, I do have to say I like her more than I did.
That was all I asked for, was an improvement, a growth.
Yeah. So if you're a big fan of Akatia already, if you're Team Akatia, then this book is definitely for you.
Yeah, this is the book for you. This is Akatia's. It's not a coming of age story, but it's definitely Akatia growing a lot and becoming a better person. She's becoming a better captain, but she's really becoming a better person.
There was I don't know how much to say about some of the stuff that happens in the book, because there are some really intense aspects of the book. And one of the best things was there was a lot of like killing and blood, and there was a lot of military fighting stuff, and I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Really did.
Yep.
So you're both bloodthirsty. Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
Hell yeah, man. I think we're both a little bloodthirsty at this point, but yeah, those were the standouts too. Yeah, for sure.
I can still see some of those scenes in my head. Cruising through the halls, and when they're really trying to do some stuff, and there's.
Oh my God, that's like the biggest statement
I know,
ever.
right? But I don't know. So it starts out with Akatia and Lynn and Lanaril and
Salomon and Dira.
A family, and they're going on their it's their honeymoon. I forget what it's called.
It's called the bonding break.
The bonding break. So they're all off on this in this kind of like a resort thing in the forest, and they're really cool tree houses and stuff. And so it's the time when the families come together, and since Tal really doesn't have she doesn't really have family. So Salomon's family is now her family, and Colonel Micah is there, and it's all about bringing their families together and turning them all into essentially one big family. But there's some problems while they're there. Lynn is out of sorts. It's clear that something has happened in the time that they've been off of Alsea. And it's been traumatizing for Lynn. Akatia is super protective and has some issues with Lanaril, and some things are covered. So there's a lot of things that refer back to the first book, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on that deals with what's happened to Lynn and Akatia while they were gone. There's good, bad guys. The guy that Akatia had to work for, he was total douchey asshole. Right? Though, I mean, he was.
What was his name? Director?
Sholikov.
That's it, Sholikov. Yeah.
He
was a great bad guy, for real.
Wasn't he great? Because he's a sociopath.
He was very good. You put him together very, very well.
I was proud of Sholikov. I liked him by the end. I
He's
mean,
kinda
you really,
sexy.
you do not want to get in his way. You do not want to be on his bad side, but he gets shit done.
He does, and you wrote him so well that I kind of liked him by the end too. He was definitely, he didn't feel like such a, like just an insanely bad guy for the sake of being bad. You understood why he did the things that he did, and he does that one specific thing toward the end that was one of the things I really started to like Akatia about too, is the scene later on where she gets to kick somebody's ass pretty well. And it's really deserved, and he kind of has a hand to play in that.
He does. I have to tell you a story about that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to inject something here.
Yes,
I had to read that scene twice. I just got done reading it. Yeah, and then I read that part again. That was really awesome.
That was a well-earned payoff, wasn't it? I mean, you really wanted that to happen. I thought long and hard about exactly how to stage that scene and what Akatia would do, because I knew what she would want to do, and what she would tell herself that she couldn't do, and how much could she get away with. And then I had to figure out the actual staging of that scene. And so I have a friend who is once upon a time she was a world champion karate competitor, and so she knows her hand to hand. And so I wrote her and said, okay, so here's the scene. Person A is standing here, and person B is standing there, and person B is smaller than person A. And so how can I do a takedown in just a few moves? And so she sent me this perfect description of a takedown. It's like, okay, so I stand up in my office here and I'm rehearsing it. I'm putting myself through the moves and going, this doesn't work. So I wrote her again and said, what? Because I just, I just tried this and I can't make it work. I think I have my lefts and my rights confused. And so she wrote a more specific description. Oh, okay, I got it now. So I tried it out again, and it was great. I mean, it just clicked. Once I figured out what I was doing, it was like, honest to true, Akatia could do that takedown in 2 seconds and break 3 bones.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really love that scene. That was really good. There are actually a lot of if you like to make guesses about what's going to happen in books, this is a great one for that. I made loads of guesses. Some were right, some were wrong. But it's always, and I think I've done that with all of your books. It's always fun to try to figure out if what you think is going to happen is going to, because sometimes you pull some tricky switches. and you go,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah, and this one I definitely planned a tricky switch right from the get-go. And then a few more along the way, just because I have to keep you readers on your toes.
You do.
Be predictable.
No, that sucks. You don't want that. I mean, with standard romance, you can get away with predictability. With these kinds of books that have some romance, but you get so involved in the different aspects of the politics and the military actions and there's so many characters too. There really are quite a few characters in these books.
There are actually. I've had to make a list for myself.
I bet
to keep them all straight, and when do they all come in, and what the relationships are, and my mom asked for one too. I think I might leave a few characters off of her list.
So I don't know. Why don't you kind of lead this discussion a bit, because I don't know how much you want to give away and how deeply you want to go.
I defer to the two of you. I know that you usually like to run spoiler-free shows, but this book's already been out for almost 3 months now. So do we need to be spoiler-free?
It's up to you.
It's up to me? I have to decide?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's your book, damn it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's well, I think we should probably still keep it mostly spoiler-free then. So
okay.
We'll be discreet.
Oh,
okay.
I like discreet, but I don't know if I can handle that one. I've never been this sweet in my life. Okay, so I have something I want to say right off the bat.
Okay.
I texted Sherry early on when I started reading this book. I'm seeing looking at Sherry's face. She's already going, yeah, you did. So one of the things, there are two things I really can't stand. Two of them. One of them is first person. I cannot stand first person. Rarely I'll like one, but fortunately on my bet, it doesn't come up often, thank God. Secondly, I absolutely loathe flashbacks.
Me too.
Hate fucking things, but they were actually fairly. It was more of them in the beginning, and then it tapered off because Sherry said, "Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. It's not going to happen as often." And then after I read the whole thing, I stopped and I thought, I really do hate flashbacks, but I can see how you ramped up the tension using them in this story. So yeah, I want to say that I still enjoyed it. But, wow, it was really tough going out of the gate with that. But yeah, I think it was really, really well done overall. So kudos, sister.
Well, thank you. So you liked it, even though you hate flashbacks. And
I did very much, yeah.
Okay, so here's my confession. I hate flashbacks too.
And yet you did.
Honest to God, I almost never read a flashback book because, yeah, it's really hard to pull those off properly, and mostly they aren't. And I tend to get distracted because I get into one story and then there's a flash to a different story, and I'm like, well, but I was in this story. And anyway, I totally understand what you're saying, and I thought long and hard about how to do this story, how to plot it out. But the problem was I had 2 years to cover, and so I had two choices. I could either start the book by saying, long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, 2 years prior to everything you just read in the whole series, here's what happened. And that just didn't feel right. So I had to bring these two separate storylines onto the same stage together. And the best way to do that was with flashbacks, but I didn't want to do just a flashback story. So what I did was called a framed narrative, which is when you have two stories going simultaneously. So I had the current day story on the outside, and then the past story that was being told on the inside. And the past story gradually catches up with the current day so that everything is on the same stage by the end of the book. And so what makes it easier to read is that there's still something happening in the frame story and the one that's in the current day. So you're not just reading a little bit and then flashback and then flash forward and then flashback and flash forward. You're being carried along in two different stories, and they're all moving at the same time. There's a lot of moving parts in this book, and it was a little difficult to juggle, but the fact that you finished it and that you enjoyed it,
and I really liked it. I did.
And you liked it. That says a lot. And I've read all the reviews that I've seen on various platforms like Amazon and Goodreads, and there are a lot of reviews from people who say, I'm not a fan of flashbacks, but I really enjoyed this story. And many of those reviews also say, having finished the book now, I'm not sure how the author could have done it any other way. And there are also quite a few reviews that say, at first I thought that the way the story was constructed takes away from the buildup and the stress and the tension of the story that takes place in the past. But then once I finished it, I realized it actually helped to have that story in the past, because there are some really tense things, as we know, that happen in the past story, some really intense stuff. And I know for a lot of readers that was hard to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that helps you get through it is knowing ahead of time that everything will turn out okay in the end. And a lot of stories, when you throw two characters into a really stressful, tenseful, dangerous situation, the tension comes from the question of, will they or won't they die? Or will they or won't they have something horrible happen that they'll never recover from, or those kinds of questions. And these questions are already answered here, but that isn't the tension of the story.
Right.
The tension is, how does this situation resolve itself? How did it happen? How does it resolve?
I don't think it would have been as effective as if you'd have told the story in a linear fashion.
I don't think so either.
The way you did it, was much more effective. I know. Mark this down. Damn it. But yeah, I think it made it a lot more effective, honestly.
Thank you. I'm very happy to hear that. That feels good. So I have to tell you that one thing I really enjoyed about writing this story was that it was the first one that I could go full steam ahead on, because when I wrote the Kafinon, or the Kafinon as some people pronounce it.
Yeah, some two people.
Some people. When I wrote that, I already had the Without a Front books created, and so I had to go back and create a whole universe, a prequel for those books. So I was working in an existing framework. And then when I had that done, then I had to go into the Without a Front books and bring them into this universe I had created. So I was always adjusting and adapting and creating new frames and filling in pieces and weaving things together. And when I finished Without a Front 2 with the Warriors Challenge, it was like, done. Okay, now I can write a story that is all new, at least in my head, from the beginning. The universe is established. The timeline is established. All the pieces and places are there. All the players are there. Now let's go and play. And so that is one reason why the book moves a lot faster, because the pieces are all in place and I'm not spending time doing tons of world building. And there still is quite a lot of world building because of the kind of stories I write, but it was just smaller amounts, and I can spend more time on the characters and the deep dives into the psychology and the growth and of course the fast action, which was very fun.
More fast action.
So, yeah, it was a blast. I really enjoyed writing that one.
More.
Yeah, so
what?
No, I was just going to say. So I wanted to go back to the structure just a little bit. It's been a little while since I read it, but it seemed like there was a lot of time spent, and you talked about that a bit. It wasn't back and forth and back and forth. And it never really, I don't think it ever bothered me, because you spend so much time in the previous portion, the stuff that happened before the current stuff, that I never really felt like really yanked out of what was going on,
I have to tell you, one of my friends had a great analogy for this. One of my beta readers, he said, these kinds of stories, it's like you're on a train and the train is changing track. And as a reader, you want that change to be so smooth that your coffee doesn't spill.
That is good. That's really good. Yes. Yeah. One new character. Yeah, I think she's new, is Dr. Wells.
Yes.
And I know that the review that was posted on C-Spot, one of the reviewers just kept saying, Dr. Wells, Dr. Wells. I wasn't really sure what was going on with that, but she's kind of a complex character, and I like the way that so she is the new medical officer on Akatia's ship, and there's like instantaneous tension between them. Dr. Wells is like, that's what I feel about you, and I'm not giving you any respect. Screw you. I hate you. You've done. And Akatia's like, what the hell? I don't even know who the hell you are. So that was kind of, I enjoyed getting to the bottom of that. I'm not really sure how I feel about her as a character. I don't know. She still kind of rubs me the wrong way, I think. It'll be interesting to see if is she going to be in future books.
Yeah, she makes a brief appearance in the book I just finished, and then she'll be more in the next one in the pipeline.
Okay, so maybe I'll have to just watch how my feelings for her evolve. But
okay, consider this. So you have strong feelings about Akatia. Now you have strong feelings about Dr. Wells. Isn't it great to have women characters who are so vivid and so strong that you have these kinds of feelings about them. I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd much rather have, and for me to sit there and go, I still don't like that bitch. And then, a little bit later, okay, well, she still irks me, but I got some respect for her now. And I almost like her, but not yet. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't want to read about characters that, that I love all of them, or I hate them all so much. It's not real. There are very few people that I love completely, and very few people that I just fucking hate. It's much more real to have that complexity. And no, I love it. It's great. Yeah. It's great. But we don't really talk much about her, and she's really kind of through her we really find out more about kind of one of the bad guys, who really he's just kind of an asshole. But he is bad.
Well, it depends on what day of the week it is, actually, and which side you're on. It is hard to discuss this without getting any spoilers away.
It is. So Ikatia's boss is
he's like the Darth Vader of this world.
Okay, I have another confession to make.
Uh-oh.
All right. So so there's a story. So we're all talking about Sholokov here. And in the beginning of the book, Ikatia is researching her new boss, Sholokov, and she finds a story about him, about how he was on a shooting range with two friends, and they're all shooting targets, and two of the friends empty their guns, and they call out an alarm. They're going down range to reset their targets. And Sholokov doesn't give a shit because he hasn't gotten his target down yet, so he keeps shooting, and he almost kills one of the guys who's going onto the range. And Ikatia is reading this, and she's just horrified because she's military. She knows damn good and well that you never, ever, ever shoot when someone's on the range, or when someone's called out that they're going down on the range. And her way of thinking is the most basic, bottom of the line ensign / private whatever, anyone in fleet would be drummed right out of there for an offense like that. And here is this huge, highly placed guy in politics who pulls this shit off. And then he gets that friend that he shot to apologize to him for interfering in his shooting. And Nikata's like, Jesus, what chance do I have with this guy? So here's my confession. That story is based on a true story. So now you have an idea of who I based that character on.
Yep. Yeah, I remember thinking Dick Cheney when I read that. I did. I went, what do you think? This sounds like the show's I went, no, it couldn't be.
Yeah, it is. Dick Cheney actually got his friend to apologize for being shot in the face with a shotgun. So it's not quite the same thing, but I took that story and twisted it a little bit and dropped it in there, and that was what I was thinking. It was a political character who is extremely powerful, has his own agenda. Actually, though, I think I like Sholokov a lot more than Cheney.
I was going to say that. I really do. Yes. But he's super powerful, and he knows how to get shit done, and he takes he doesn't seem to really take pleasure in much, but man, he loves poking at Ikatia. He loves it, and it became, as after she kind of figured all this out. I mean, she learned how to work him, and she learned how to get what she wanted, kind of as much as you can with somebody like that, I think. Mm-hmm. But another character who I don't remember if I cried or not, or if I got close to crying. I know I called what was going to happen.
You did. I remember that note.
The young ensign. Was he an ensign?
Ensign, yes.
So Sholokov assigns this young kid to be Ikatia's assistant, essentially, and she spends so much. He's like, idol worship around her, and she is like, "You're a fucking spy for Sholokov. I'm not saying shit to you. I don't trust you. Forget it." But it turns out,
and you're a bad actor.
Yeah, right. But it turns out that he was totally legit, and there's and I really enjoyed watching the relationship develop, and Akatia growing. You had said right away that this book really does have her grow a lot as a person, as a human being.
And the interesting part is how much she grows because of her working for Sholokov.
Right.
A lot of her growth is a direct result of saying, "Don't be Sholokov."
Yeah. Yes. So watching her relationship with the ensign and her relationship with other members of her crew and what type of a leader she is, those are the things that really that started to really get me to feel a lot more respect for her and understand her a bit more. Some of the stuff that she has this kid do is great, and the conversations that go on. For example, they're at a party and they're doing some covert action, some intelligence gathering, and this kid is just like shaking in his boots because he doesn't know it. He doesn't want to do it. He wants to, but he's afraid. He's never really done anything like this before, and Akatia keeps. I don't know if she does in this particular instance. I think she does. She pushes back on Sholokov a lot. Like, you want me to get all this stuff. You're holding me responsible to do all of these things that are already hard and, damn near impossible to do. And then you're forcing me to take this kid who has absolutely no experience in these types of maneuvers and activities. I really enjoyed those portions of the book a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of it I think has to do with the military aspects, and I enjoy those types of things. And I think, I know you've got ex-military friends and things like that, but you always do such a good job with military bearing and the way, military thinking, because it's different. So kudos to you. You really do a good job with that. There are a lot of times that I read books that have military people in it, and there's just so much bullshit calling, and I thought you made a reference to that damn ceremony, and I damn near cried just in a flashback in my head thinking about it. But it's not there. So
you were spared that one.
I was so like, oh, that was so sad.
And on a lighter note, the first time I heard his last name, the I Dream of Jeannie theme song kept running through my head.
Sholokov?
No, Bellows.
Oh, Dr. Bellows. Is that his name? Ensign Bellows?
Yes.
Wait. Yeah. And I could see the little cartoon with the, I'm like, oh no.
Wait. It's been like 40 years since I saw I Dream of Jeannie. Who's Dr. Bellows in that?
He was
the crotchety old guy at NASA who used to always.
He was the boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have the theme in my head. Dun, 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 dun.
I think we may need to change the theme song for this episode on the audio version. I don't know. Just saying.
I would love to hear that.
That would be awesome.
All right.
So,
yeah, we can't. Is there anything else that you want to talk about for this book?
Well, you're kind of missing one of the major plot points.
Oh, everything that happens with Velmar and Lanro or Solomon and Paul. Those things? Is that what you're doing? Sorry, I forgot.
No, those would be minor plot points. No, we're missing the Lynn plot point.
Oh, I didn't know how much you wanted to go into that.
Yeah. Because if we talk about that, it's going to slip, because that was my favorite part of the book.
Yeah. No, that's interesting that you say that, because I've seen just in discussions that that other people that's something that some folks really struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
There were some really graphic and difficult bits of that, and I thought it was fantastic, and obviously Andy did too. But you know, it's not for the lighthearted. You know,
no, it's not. And okay, here's another back scene story. When I was first sketching out this plot and trying to figure out how I wanted it to work, I contacted a friend of mine who was a doctor, and I said, okay, I want to have this happen. So is this realistic? And she read over my ideas, and she's like, not really. And I think that in the timeline that you're talking about, in the world you're talking about, there would be a more high-tech way of accomplishing this. And so she made the suggestion of using electrical impulses. And I'm like, God, that's nasty. I can't do that. And then I realized, well, I probably can. So I started thinking about it. Then it got really high-tech. And so I'm just publicly saying here that my sweet doctor friend in Madrid is the reason why that is much worse than it was when I originally envisioned it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. Anyway, yeah, she's the reason it's high tech. But where was I going with this? Yeah, it does. It does work really well. So okay, to cover this story without giving it away, Lynn's adventures in the 2 years that she's
Lynn's adventures.
Yeah, Lynn's story. This is really like the creation story of a comic book character. You know, there's always something that happens that
there's
an event they pass through that makes them boil down to the essence of what they are and makes it extra strong and builds them into what makes them into a superhero source. And Lynn's not a superhero. She's just a very strong, very determined woman who tells the truth and refuses to not tell the truth. And although her story is, in terms of word count, by far the shortest in the book, I think it's the most powerful in the book. And it makes her really a true hero because she takes a stand and she refuses to budge from that stand no matter what happens. And she's not a warrior, she's a scholar, but she defends an entire civilization more than any warrior does. I mean,
yeah.
Ikatia defended Alsea physically, but Lynn defends Alsea in a whole different way, and actually changes history in a big way. And she changes the path that politics take. So it's a story of how one person, by simply saying no and by being strong, can change the world.
Oh, that's just too much.
I'm kind of surprised that, you know, and you said that it's, you know, word count. She has the smallest part in the book. After I think about it, I mean, yeah, I can see that, but
it has such an impact.
It does. It really does. It really does. Yeah. And through her stuff, you know, we get to see so much more of Ikatia and also their bond, which was great. I love that bit. Yeah, it was, I don't know, I really liked it. And so why don't we talk about some of and I don't remember until you probably will start talking about it, but why don't you tell us a bit about what's going on with Salomon and Tal during the book too? Because there's stuff going on there. I just don't remember what it was.
Well, the main thing going on in the beginning of the book is that Salomon, who's had no idea beforehand of the relationship that Tal had with Ikatia, watches those two together right before they take off in the transport to fly off to their island retreat for the bonding break. And she's like, hello, what is between the two of you? And why haven't I been informed of this?
Right, I forgot about that. Though there's one other thing when you said that when they go out flying, and Tal is trying to scare the shit out of Ikatia, and then it actually kind of flips around. That was really good.
I know it's Ikatia trying to scare the crap out of Tal, and then
yeah. I just remember there was some really fun flying going on there, and really good interaction between the two of them.
Yeah, that was my my self-indulgent chapter of let's get these two women together and let them really talk the way that two warriors who have some shit they really have to say to each other would talk, which means there isn't a lot of verbiage going on. There's a lot being said underneath the actual words, but you can see the really deep love they have for each other, even when Tal is a bit pissed at Katya because she's finding out all the stories that she didn't hear. And yeah, there's so much going on in those two flying chapters, but it's almost a little mini love story. It's a mini love / friendship story, which was fun to read. But back to the Salomon thing, the question that Sherry's asking. So yes, the what's going on here and why haven't I been informed? One of the reasons I love the character of Salomon so much is because, again, she's not a warrior, but she is tough as shit, and she keeps Tal in line. And so there's a fun scene very early on, to the end of chapter 3, I think. So I'm not giving away any spoilers here, but Tal has now confessed what has happened between her and Katya way back at the end of the Kafinan, and how deep their relationship really goes. And she's trying to apologize, and she's saying, I know this is some serious stuff, but I don't know what I'm going to do about it. And Salomon says, and here is the same mistake you keep making all the time. You are not going to do anything about it. We are going to do something about this. And by we, I mean all four of us. And Tal's like, oop.
They're perfectly matched. They really are.
They are. So, and there's two other characters that I want to. Actually, there's a bit more than that I want to talk about. So, okay, so we've talked about kind of, so Salomon and Tal are like, but they're fine. And then
I knew what
then
that
we've
was.
also
shorthand, wasn't it?
Thank you. And then we've got tension between Lanrel and Katya, because Katya finds out some stuff that she didn't know about, and then she gets pissed off and treats Lanrel like shit. And Lanrel's like, what the fuck? I don't know what's going on. Then you also have Lanrel and Velmar, and there were some parts of that I really liked, that didn't necessarily have to do with them, but as Lanrel as a sexual being, that I really enjoyed. And then you have well, no, I don't know. So then there was also tension then between Salomon and Katya, wasn't there? Or was no?
Not really. It was only in the very beginning, when Salomon has just learned what happened toward the end of the Kafinan. Okay, we can say this, right? Because this is 3 books ago. Okay, so Salomon has just learned for the first time that Tal had a battle plan, a strategic plan of empathically forcing Lyn to stay on Alsea, and by that means forcing Akati to stay. And so now Tal is feeling like she's in the doghouse and probably never going to have sex again in her entire life, because how can Salomon possibly feel the same way about her after knowing this? Because of course, for the Alseans, the empathic force like that, even if it's legal with a warrant, it's still a really, really nasty thing. And so Salomon and Katya have a very interesting conversation here, in which Salomon's trying to find out, how can Katya and Tal be such good friends with this between them? And she asks Katya if she forgives her. And Katya said, well, she didn't do it, so there's no reason to forgive her. Okay, well, had she done it, would you forgive her? And Katya says, yes. And Salomon says, that's a very quick answer. And Katya then goes into an explanation of, yes, well, I've had 2 years to think about this, and here's what I think. And she has a pretty in-depth assessment of the whole concept of, what would I do if my choices were to do one horrible thing to one person, or let 500 million people be enslaved or die. So this is an impossible decision. And the only way to get out of that situation is to never get into it, because there's no right answer. And so I can forgive her because I'm the one who got her into that position. So there's a really beautiful conversation that these two women have that establishes a new depth in their relationship, even though Salomon, of course, she just met Ikatia like 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's learning all this about this woman who's a huge part of her bondmate's life. So that, I think, is what you were thinking about when
I think
talking about the tension between those two.
Yeah. And then, so do you want to talk a little bit about what the problem that Ikatia has with Lanarol?
Spoiler.
Okay, then let's not. And we're going to close on time. So
we are.
I think the big thing that I'd like to know is, so you said you're just about done with the next one, or you are done with the...
I am done with the next one. It is in the hands of the beta readers right now. Actually, it's already back for one beta reader. It's in the hands of 2 more. So yeah. Would you like a preview?
Yes, please.
It's like a no-fucking-brainer. What the hell, man?
All right, so the next book it's very different because I am jumping away from all the main characters to date. And, I know. And what I'm doing is taking a very, very, very minor character in the Without a Front books and filling out her backstory and creating an entire book around her. It's just going to start paging through who could this be.
So is it the bad woman?
I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Why? Why not?
It's a surprise. I can't spoil it for you right off the bat. So anyway, what this did was it gave me a chance to dive into a whole different part of the Alsean culture, because Alsea, as it has been portrayed so far, is like this practically perfect in every way culture. The Protectorate is a lot more human in that it has the nastier politics and whatnot, and meanwhile the Alseans have this incredibly advanced culture sociologically, but of course no culture is perfect, and so there have to be cracks. And so I got to play with a character who grows up in those cracks, who spends 2 years as an outcast. She is the daughter of a merchant and a crafter, and she is expected to take over her father's store when she becomes of age, except that she doesn't want to do that. She dreams of being a warrior. And her parents are like, nope, not a chance. We need you to run the store, and this is your destiny. And she's like, I'm out of here. So she runs away at the age of 15 and goes to live in the port city of White Sun, which is in the southern continent. So we're in a whole different part of Alsea than you've ever seen before. And half of the book is about this character as a youngster learning how to live on the streets in a port city and learning how to live without any of the protection of the 6 castes. She's an outcast. She has no legal protections. She can't get a legal job. She is at risk of being picked up by their version of the police, because whenever anything goes wrong, outcasts are the first ones they look for. And so it's a whole different view, and it's really rich with new characters and new places, and it has the taste of the ocean about it because it's all taking place in a port city. And the character works the docks because that's one of the jobs you can get as an outcast, is loading cargo, because the merchants don't care whether you have a caste ID or not. And she does eventually get into the warrior caste as she wants, and then we follow her adventures through that. By the end of the book, we are back amongst the characters that you all know and love already. So we're seeing Tal and Salomon and a tiny little bit of Lynn and Ikatia. But in this book, for the first time, we're going to get a point of view from Salomon.
Oh,
nice.
So yeah, so I know a lot of readers have been waiting for that one. So this is a chance to see her. And we've also had the hint at the end of the Warriors Challenge that Salomon had untapped potential as a very strong high empath. And this is the book where we find out just how strong she is, which is to say, really fucking strong.
Not put too fine a point on it. Fucking strong, man. Fucking strong. I love that. That's awesome. Damn it.
So how long do we have to wait?
I don't have an exact publishing date yet. I am currently in negotiations about that, but I am almost sure it will be out before the end of this year. So I'm hoping this fall.
Wow.
That's my goal.
Oh, okay, cool. I was kind of wondering if you were going to say the beginning of next year or something like that. I like that. That's nice. Okay.
Oh, yeah, man.
Do you have a title?
I do. It's called Outcast.
Oh, well, there you go. Is there an E at the end? The Outcast is with an E, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
And finally, you have it, well, besides Catalyst too, but a book whose name you can pronounce.
I know. I can No, I'm sorry, but you can. We're good with all of them except for the first one. They all have normal, regular words that we can pronounce. All right, cool. Well, do you want to? We only have a couple minutes. Do you want to give some books away?
Yes, I have 2 ebook copies of Catalyst to give away for anyone who wants them.
Oh, somebody, Amy. Hi, Amy. Amy said, yes, please. And when it may be, and when, okay. And when will it be published? So we already did
that one. We're on top of it.
I know what everybody wants to know. Okay. So, and so we got 2 ebook copies, All right. You want to give one away right now? Want to give one to Amy? Because she was here.
She spoke up first.
She did. She is here. She's only. We got a bunch of viewers, and she's the only one that said anything. So
well, we should reward the
that's what I'm thinking.
Up.
And we give Amy so many suggestions that she often feels overwhelmed. So this time we can give her a book to go along with it.
That's awesome.
All right, Amy, I will give Fletcher your email address because I'm sure that I have it, and then she will get that over to you.
Okay.
So there's one more copy.
One more.
So just leave a comment on the Cocktail Hour website. The post is already there, so you can just go over right now and get started. Our next show, so you'll need to have your comments posted before on or before April 7th, because our next show is on the 8th.
On the 8th.
On the 8th. April 8th. Yes. Yeah. So before we say goodbye to Fletcher, let me just tell you real quick what our next book is going to be. I think it's called Good Behavior. Yes, by
I'm looking
somebody.
It up. You think I would have this shit down?
I have it right here. So Colette will be back with us, and we're going to be talking about this book that that I don't remember the name of.
It's Good Behavior, yes.
Okay, Good Behavior by somebody Crouch.
Blake Crouch.
I was so close. Blake Crouch, and it's been turned into a TV series on TNT, I think, TBS. It's got a T and it's on TV. And
it's on TV.
I am prepared, okay, and it stars It stars the actress that I can't remember her name right now, but she played Lady Mary on Downton Abbey.
Oh.
Downton Abbey.
It's like on the tip of my tongue.
It's mine too.
It was like watching fucking grass grow. That shit was boring.
You shut up. You just shut up. So if you guys want to read the book with us and come and chat with us on April 8th, If you missed the last episode with Colette, I strongly recommend that you go watch it or listen to it because we all hated the book. It was terrible.
It was unanimous hatred. And Colette went on a rant. It was fabulous.
It was probably the best thing that's ever happened on this show, except for when Fletcher's on. Except
Nicely
for Fletcher's
done. Thank
shows.
you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. But seriously, you don't have to read the book. We tell you every single thing that happens in it. But Colette's rants are just
Superb.
Yeah, are they epic?
they were truly epic. She goes off on this one issue that just.
Oh my God! And it has to do with the toilet seat.
It was awesome.
Oh my God!
So when you're done listening to this one, go back, listen to episode 119. If you're having a bad day, you need a laugh. It's totally worth it. It was good. But listen to this one first.
Yeah, listen to this one first.
But actually, you would be because we're done. So
watch episode 119.
Yeah. Okay, so leave your comments for Fletcher. I saw one just came in, waiting for moderation. By April 7th, and we'll pick a winner on the next episode. Okay, that's all then.
All right.
I can't think of that lady's name.
Oh, it's driving you batty, isn't it? You know what's going to happen? As soon as we stop recording, you're going to go, oh, her name is, because that's how it works.
Yep.
It is.
She will.
All right. Well, thank you, Fletcher.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Sorry, Andy. I'm all discombobulated. That's your job. You do it.
Okay, sorry. Andy, go ahead.
No. She's already done. She's not doing any flashbacks. No. We're moving on. So thank you all for listening and participating, and tell your friends. And we'll have Fletcher back on because, it's Fletcher. She's got to come back on. So,
I do.
But go get her books. Damn it. If you don't have any of them, go buy them all at one time. Trust me, you will not be sorry. And that's pretty much where I'm at. That's what I got.
All right.
All right. Well,
Thanks,
goodbye,
baby.
everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao.